Okay, okay, there's one right there. All right, we may be live. Bear with us, those of you that may be on. We have some difficulties trying to see if we are live. Let's go to the website. All right. We're trying to see, so hang in there with us. We are trying to go live. Let's see here. It says live, but where we at live, I don't know. uh, do y'all see anything? Let me look at my phone here.
Yes, sir.
You see something?
Yes, I'm getting the link for it right now.
Okay. All right. We having some fun around here. That's what we like to do. We like to make challenges in our lives. We like to make challenges in that. I think Jedediah hit the wrong button. Once he did that, then okay. All right. If you guys just hang in there, we are trying to switch over, I believe. Um, okay. Somebody said we are live, or did you say that? See it as well.
I just typed it and then Mama G said it too.
Okay. All right. So we are live. All right. We are live. All right. We're gonna try this again. I am going to switch a couple of things in that. And so, how was you, gentlemen's day? I guess we could start off like that. We get a couple of fill-ins here. I had just put the number two up there. I didn't know what was going on, so we're gonna give those that chance to get back to us. That they will come in the room. So as well. Hope things. I guess it's. Are you willing to change? I guess we was tested to see if we was willing. Excuse me. Are we willing? I wanted to get this back up here. See if we can find something here. In that. Oh man. Oh great. Hitting the wrong
Um,
buttons.
to answer your question, the day was it had its ups and downs,
Uh huh.
but like
Yeah.
right now there was a perseverance. So I praise the King for that.
Yeah. Hallelujah. We are going to try to. Let me see if I can. Oh wow. Get this going too. Okay. All right. This is the life. Who's? Let me see if I can. Now I got to pull the room up. All right. We do got somebody in the room as well. In that, so I think they can hear us. If y'all can hear us pretty good, just give us a good thumbs up, and we'll be ready to go. Just say yes. We hear you. We can hear. We can hear. All right. We going to. All right. I see a thumbs up. All right. Okay. I guess that's a good thing. That's good in that. So, all right, gentlemen, we're gonna we're gonna try to do it here again. Let's see, get it all together. Hopefully, the camera angles are where it should be. All right, all right, all right. So, are you willing to change? This is where we at. We are on number two, right? So, the second of this, and what I wanted to do is go ahead and make sure that we just kind of do a little catch up. So one of the things, gentlemen, that I was going to try to give you heads up on before things start happening to us is on each slide here. What we'll do is you guys can kind of comment. So the first portion of this would be more or less some of the things that we may have went over already, and then we didn't, and then according to what we are doing on these particular slides, then you guys also can comment on it. So I'll start off the comments first, and each slide, then we'll do that. I think I may have maybe 5 or 6 slides or so. That way, it'll be something, a review as well as an enhancement of what we're doing. One of the things that we have been talking about is embracing the transformation or the willingness to change. So that's something that we have to make sure that we are able to do is be willing. We have to be willing to change. And so we have the scriptures. Of course, I think last time, and if I'm not mistaken, we brought out a couple of scriptures in that. One of the scriptures I was likening it to is Romans 12:2, and then of course Titus 3:5 as well, thinking about a transformation. So if you are willing, then that's when your transformation can take place, right? So we have to embrace those things. When we are willing, then our mindset has to be shifted in those things also. So we have to accept those new possibilities in our lives. So are we really willing to change? And so if we are, then that may cause us to break some traditions that we have as well. So those things that we're gonna may have to break away from, the conventional norms and things like that. We may have to re-examine what we need to do in our life. And I think I had mentioned last week, it has to be daily, has to be on a daily walk and a daily challenge that we have. But we can do it. We can establish those things. So sometimes even in our rules. So most of all, it's with the covenant of Most High, and then it works around to the things around us as well. Jedediah, do you have anything on embracing this transformation that we are talking about tonight?
Oh, yes, sir. I just want to give all praises to Abba Yah. Um, and I know we touched on a lot of things last week. As far as the willingness to change, is I know I said it last week. It don't come overnight. It's a process to it, and it's about being patient and understanding the variables that are within changing. I know for myself, even in the process of changing, I would still find myself making mistakes, And I guess the best thing about that is knowing that I can identify those mistakes. And when I identify those mistakes, I try to look at it from a perspective of, okay, that didn't work last time. What am I going to do next time that this come up? Or how am I going to fix this mistake right now? Because certain mistakes, like I know for myself, when I make certain mistakes, even today at work, there's a sense of humiliation in it. And it's like, I don't want to make that same mistake again. So with me, as I'm changing a certain behavior, I'm identifying the things in my life that can possibly hold me back, like we mentioned last week. And then I'm going to say, well, how did I get here? How did I get to this point again? Because here I am again. I know that this is something I need to change. What led me to this? And identify that and then go from there, keeping it as simple as possible. But yeah, that's what I have to say on that.
All right. Okay. All right. Brother Sid, did you have anything you want to comment on this particular slide?
Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom, shalom. All glory to the King of Kings, Yeshua
Hallelujah.
HaMashiach. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful we got another shot at this, so I praise the Father. And I feel like what you said, this slide is definitely helping me out. So I really just like what you already have here in terms of embracing the transformation. I just like you have it broken down into these three categories. Is that something you were getting ready to go over?
Yes, that's what I did go. Did you have something that
Well,
you
I know
need to?
you.
Yes.
Okay.
Just on
No, sir.
transformation, just comment on that. Do you have any comments or no?
No, sir. No, I'm
Okay,
good.
all right, okay, all right. We'll go to the next one. We'll flow with it, and we'll go to the next one on this. Now, one of the things that we did have is when you're thinking about overcoming, and I'm gonna briefly hit this fear because I think we that's how we started off even on last week. And so those of you that may not have seen, say part one of this, then you can go back and get that. I'm just trying to at least get us updated and then refresh our memory on what we need to do, right? And so sometimes in that fear, we can't go forward in what we need to do. So we have to make sure that we conquer the fear that we have to do. So we want to always do a self examination in that. And then we want to embrace the self control. Now, in order for us to make a awesome point in the willingness to change, you have to have self control. That's something that we have to exercise in that, right? We have to manage our emotions in those things, right? And then we have to make sure that we navigate those things that we have fear in order for us to make a change. So to make this change, we have to have a heart to want to change, and sometimes we say like a wilderness in that, the self-examination, and so those things, if we are fearing anything, because once we make a change, we making a change because the Father has told us to make a change, right? He has given us His word that has a transformation of power in it, so we no longer have to be in the situation that we are in, but we can always do better. And so that's the growth process that yet we do have, is that we would go better. So we talked a little bit more last time more about fear and what that entails in that as well. So when we are thinking about taking the steps to embrace these changes that's come about, we have to have a mindset of growth. So we're going to have to cultivate something here, right? And sometimes we need to seek the support and then the self care that's needed in that support. Now, you can have support, but that support can only care for you to a certain extent. Then you have to have some self care of your own. And so the reflection that we need in that. So we have to embrace those opportunities that we have in order for us to grow. Now, change is growing. So every time you change, you grow. And so they're kind of connected. They two sides of every coin. And so that's the mindset that we have to do. And that causes us to face new challenges in our life, right? So we need that, right? To seek the support in that. And so it will sustain us mentally, right? And we will be stable, and we won't be all over the place, right? We'll be stable in what we are doing. All right, in that. So you brothers, Jedediah, you can step up and you can comment on this particular slide if you have anything, my brother. If not, we'll move on. It's okay.
Oh, yes, sir. I do like the first category, cultivating a growth mindset.
Yeah.
I think that when we do things like that, we're realizing that we don't have it all. We don't have everything at a certain particular time in our life. And understanding that, it helps you to grow in life. Because
Mm-hmm.
if I think I have everything and I think that I know everything, I won't have any room for growing. And at the top, it says embracing change. It was hard for me to embrace certain change. It was hard for me to embrace certain things that I once believed. And but when you have the mindset, when you want to have the growth type of mindset, it makes things a lot easier. Because when you really sit down and say, I want to grow, I want to get better, you know, plants, they grow. They start as a seed, they
Mm.
come up, you have a stem, you have leaves, and then you get more leaves, you get more stems, and it gets bigger and bigger. And eventually it bears fruit. And so when we have that type of mindset, it'll put us like that plant. We want to
Mm.
bear fruit from what we're doing. We don't want to be stagnant in our walk. We want to continue to grow with the Father. We want to continue to grow with our community, and especially when we're dealing with outside forces. How do I set myself apart from everyone else? And that growth mindset will help you get there, because you can't be a set apart people if you think that you already have it.
Mm.
We
Mm.
have
That's
to keep
good.
on growing.
Mm-hmm.
And the best thing that we can have is the Father, is a leader, is a community.
All right. I think we lost your audio. Maybe
Oh,
you
no,
still
sir, I
there?
was done.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Okay, my brother. Did you have anything said, or you'd like to go us to go to the next slide, or?
So, yes, sir, there was something that I can comment on there. And I think when it comes to cultivating, like you said, that growth mindset, realistic expectations, I think is a great way to start.
Mm.
And I think in the way that which we're going to follow the Messiah, sometimes we have these expectations to live up to things that we weren't called to achieve. And I don't mean that in the sense of doing good. I mean just being honest with yourself, and actually handling what you've been given. And if you don't know what it is you should do, then you can learn. But to do that, I think in the second step you have there, seeking support.
Mm.
This isn't something that we need to do by ourselves. And we do need fellowship. I know there's a lot of mixed opinions on fellowship because we're confused on what it really means to be led with by the Ruach in some areas. But these things are done through imitation. We see that the taught ones of the Messiah imitated that they were his taught ones by doing things similar to what he did. And I think likewise with us who are seeking change, we need to find people who have changed. We need to see people who are different from where they were, that they're no longer in the place that they were being overcome by their desires or their passions or the things that were vices to them, but yet they are free, and they're free in the ways of the Father. This isn't something that is of a personal opinion. They have the fruit to prove it.
Mm.
So I think that those things really will show us some things, and in doing so, we'll end up where you are with the reflection and persistence. Because once we see the areas of change, we need to keep going in it until the change comes. Because it's not something that, like was said before, it's not an overnight thing. With this pursuit, we're talking about a faithfulness of life, not a season, not a moment, not an idea, not the opportunity that you feel it right now, so you're going to do it. But when we're talking about the changes here, this is something that you don't stop doing. The idea is like our brother brought up plants. If you're a creature that of created by the Father, He's put His breath and His ruach within you. The idea is to grow and to change and to continue to increase. If you
Mm.
bore six fruit, then now you should bear 12. If you bore 12, now let's bear 24. It's not something to where it's measured by how can I say time in the walk. It's measured by faithfulness and trustworthiness and commitment, because a long time without growth, it's just an old barren tree. So what I'm saying is that if we're going to really be persistent and reflect on things, we need to have those moments to where we can sit down with the fellowship, with being honest with ourselves, and see where we were and have we actually achieved a goal that puts us closer to the Messiah and the image to which we should be walking in.
Oh yeah. Good. Good stuff. Good stuff. Oh yeah. I think I'm ready to change now. I think I'm ready to change. That is possible, in that. So that's always good for us. A good change is always good for us. So the mindset, I want to reiterate that. You see that they kind of, it seems like it's going over and over, but I think sometimes the things that I need is to make sure that I have a mindset to grow, and then what that consists of. So I like for you brother, to kind of chime in. What is the mindset? Because okay, you tell me, all right, I need to cultivate this, I need to do that, I need to embrace these new ideas from these perspectives, and then I have to allow myself these opportunities to grow. So when you hear the word mindset, right? What would that be all about? Just on the idea of what you think there. What do you think, Jedediah?
For me, the mindset is something whereas in where your focus is.
Mm-hmm.
My focus is in this area. Um, let's take something. Let's do the Greek basketball, right? If if my mindset is to play basketball, I'm going to do whatever it takes or the things that I need to be a good or possibly the best basketball player. I'm going to put in the practice. I'm put in the overtime. I'm going to show up early and be the first one in, last one out type of mentality.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do those things because this is my profession or this is my goal. This is what I aim to be. So since this is where I aim to be, this is what I want to do, I have to cultivate a mindset of just basketball. And there's so many things that I need to learn. I need to learn how to dribble. If I want to
Mm-hmm.
be the best, I need to be one of the best dribblers. I need to be one of the best shooters. I need to be able to jump high. How do I get that? Now I got to put in time in the gym with all three of them. And so when we thinking about the walk, can we have that same mindset? Instead of basketball, it's the things of the Father. How much am I reading my book, right? And 3 years ago or 4 years ago, I once saw that this is what this scripture said, or this is what this precept said, and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But then I find myself learning something new,
Mm-hmm.
because
Yes.
that's part of the growth. I it's so many things, or it could just be something. Whereas in I learned this, but now I've learned something to build on it. Because I've had so many situations like that where it's like, man, this is good, and
Yes.
I'm willing
Yes.
to
Yes.
give this to someone. This is amazing. And then years later, there's more to it. Like something that you always say, like, hold what you have, but let's look at this. And I love when you do that because we're dealing with a different perspective. Okay, this is what I have. This is what someone else is presenting me. How does it line up? Does it bear fruit? So when I have a mindset of growing, that's what I would do rather than just deflect whatever thing someone brings something new to me. I'm just willing to deflect. That's not a growth type of mindset.
All right. All right.
And
Good.
when
Good.
you go to basketball, uh, let's just take NBA players for an example. You got someone who's been in the NBA for 20 years. You think they played the same way they did when the first year they came in? The game has grown, you know, so they had to grow with it. And for us, I'm just gonna say for me, I've been to different organizations, so I had to grow within that
Yeah.
organization. I
Yes.
couldn't stay where I once was. So that's just the way I look at a mindset.
All right. That's good. That's good. Well, Yehoshua, what do you think? You have a comment on that, or?
I really like what you said there, more in Jedediah. That I guess realistically you're right. That is the place we start is with the mindset.
Mm.
I
Good.
say
Good.
for me is I don't know. I think everyone has their own approach. I'll speak for myself, and I had to be honest about where I was.
Oh, that's good.
This
That's good.
morning, you posted something, an encouragement to meditate on, and just realizing in this sense that we didn't choose for ourselves to be here and all that thing, but we were born. But the Most High had a purpose. He was the
Yes.
one that brought that purpose into the world, and it was in the form of me and you, all of us. And throughout all of that, we developed a mindset coming into adulthood, coming to belief, and now we're encountering, I say, a more fuller version of the belief. And that's where I believe, for me, I had to be honest about, like, what am I trying to achieve in my relationship with the Most High. Like, that was my mindset.
Oh,
You
good,
know,
good.
I'm I'm not trying to be the greatest or anything like that. The desire was to be a servant in His house. So I think, like, what are you seeking with the Father? And what I started to realize is this: those people who the Most High has around Him, they are about His business. They know the difference between what is good and what is evil. They know the difference between righteousness and unrighteousness. And it's not based upon their own estimation. They have the law of the king in their heart. So I think with that, the mindset for me is, am I lining up with those who the Father praises? He'll call us to a man named Abraham and tell him that, that was my friend. He'll tell us that there's a man named David who was after my heart. So when I'm thinking of the ways of the Father and the mindset we should have, it should be to be like those people He's drawn near to Himself. Who those people should be like our role models. I think even the Scripture says that if we are of Mashiach, then we are the seed of Abraham. So first, that we have a place to start. And to me, being of Mashiach means I need to be like all of those people who are willing to serve Him in the sincerity, in the truth, in the fullness of His word, not based upon my own opinions or my own feelings, but being willing to change whenever I see that He has brought forth something to me that I'm not doing, or that I'm not acknowledging, or that I'm overlooking, and then following through with my actions to do what He has said,
Oh,
and not
yeah, absolutely.
justifying, not doing it. No excuses.
No excuses. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yes, yes, absolutely. No excuses. That's good. I think you gentlemen has really embraced the mindset to grow, and especially in the things of the Father, right? So those things are very important that we keep those things in mind, right? Growing in Him, serving Him, and all of those things together. We have to make sure that, just like you guys are saying, each time we have new avenues for develop. Now that goes, the concrete of that is in the things of serving the Father, and then we have those things of many times you gentlemen mentioned many times on your job and all of that. So we have those things to develop. So we constantly develop. Sometimes in education, you development. You're making the advancements that's necessary in order for us to function even here on Earth. In order for that to happen, though, we have to make sure that we continue in the things of growth. Every opportunity is a growth time. Whatever you have, whatever you're doing, it is an opportunity for you to grow, and so that's we want to really keep those things in the mindset that we can do it. We can do those things. So. All right. Okay. And we are talking about at the beginning of it, and I even brought up the slide for this, talking about the support. So I wanted to do more focus on that, and then the self care as well, right? The support and the self care that we need. Most of all, when we get support, it needs to be in the positive, it needs to influence us positively, and it needs to influence us in the things of our scriptures, right? And so we have to make sure we understand that. whether it's family, friends, or whatever. The network of support would be, of course, would be the assembly that we attend, the people that we love on, and they always there to provide the encouragement. And that's part of what Power Up is all about, is to encourage. And so many times we see that. And so that way, with support, it always helps us to embrace the change. I find that it's easier when you have support to do that. And because where I'm lacking, someone can always help me with that and strengthen uh, the lack that's in my life that I need to serve the Father. And all of this is to help that. So to help me to maintain these things. And so when we think about it, my self-care is so much better when I have the support that I need. So what do you gentlemen think about the support of others, and maybe you may have experienced those particular things, maybe even in your life, in this time of transitioning to a point of change? What do you think there, Jedediah?
Oh, yes, sir. Support is very important, especially when it comes to those who are growing in this truth. We all growing, um, but some of us may need more support than others. Um, but you said something earlier when you talked about the positive. Um, I had a situation that happened today at work,
Mm,
and I had, a parent who was very upset with me about a certain situation that took place with her student. And, I had someone in my ear like, man, I'm going to do this. I will do this. I will do that. And I'm just like, okay, that's your opinion. And I actually thought about doing that, but then I thought about what would the outcome be if I was to go about the situation when it comes to talk to this parent. So instead, I went to talk to leadership. And I went and talked to leadership and asked, and I got better advice, you know. So I went with that. And so just all that just to say is if we are choosing support, we got to make sure that we're choosing the right support
mm,
because
mm,
those who are with you all the time are very, very important in your life. And I'm talking about those who are in the assembly. And those in assembly, all those people I would look for to support me at all times. I don't want to find myself in a situation where I'm seeking support outside of the assembly, especially outside leadership, because the
good, good,
support
good. Yes.
will definitely come the best from leadership. And in that situation, I could have easily went with, what my peers were saying, but I'm just like, I'm going to take this to leadership because the advice I got, that wasn't holding right with me on my heart. Like I'm going to make it worse. And, this parent has already had run-ins with other, teachers or admin or whatever. I don't want to make it worse. Can I do something better? Can I be a uh, a better example for her? And her student as well. And after everything was said and done, we was able to come to an agreement. You
Mm,
know, and I just remember in that situation, basically the student would have got a bad grade because they didn't have on the proper attire. And I just remember sitting there like, how would I want someone else to treat my child in this situation?
mm,
And then I remember you doing a teaching. I believe it was a teaching, or maybe it was a power up when we talked about mercy. You know, because it
yes.
could have been so easy for me to just like, well, you guys have the schedule, you know what to wear, you know what day you're supposed to be doing things on. It'd have been so easy just to say, this is what it is, and you got to deal with it. But I just remember thinking, like, what would the elder do in this situation? So I showed mercy in that situation where I know before I wouldn't have done that. You know, I would have went with what my peer is saying,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
instead I seek
Good.
leadership, and that can also transform when we are in the assembly, when we are dealing with things, and we're looking for a positive influence on our life. Leadership should be number one.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right, okay. My brother,
Well
about
said.
yes, about seeking. You want to jump in there? I see you ready. Yeah.
Yes, well said. And oh man, I'm glad that you were able to find victory in that. I know it can be stressful, you know, especially because you're trying to stand up for the good things and everyone's watching you. But I believe you did what was honorable in that, my brother. So agreeing with what he had just said, I'm always gonna go to that camp. See, I always wasn't in the place of seeking leadership for
Mm,
support.
yes.
The
Okay.
reason the reason why I wasn't always in a place for seeking leadership is because I had issues. I had a lot of trust issues when it comes down to listening to just instruction in general. And I think that if we're a type of people who want to be those of the Most High, especially this right here, this support, this is something you technically, I think everybody thinks they can do, but I believe that it's something you need to be taught how to do correctly. Many times, you're teaching and in the things that we're learning, there are certain things we can do to hinder a situation that we may call a good thing.
Good,
And
good.
and we're often in a position where we think we're doing good, but because this good is based upon our own feelings, we end up perhaps hindering the change that could have came, or coddling bad behavior that should have been changed. There's many things that could happen, but like I said, with leadership, you can learn the right time. So with that, I believe you need fellowship, but your fellowship needs to be like a family because the
Good,
way the
good.
Father built this, the way the Father built this covenant is he built it on a family. He took one man and his sons and established an entire nation out of them. And I believe in us carrying that out, we need to be the same. We need to be willing to confess our trespasses. We need to be willing to go to one another and let us handle these things, in being sincere and genuine and praying together. Having someone who you trust changes the entire nature of your life because you realize you can't do it all. And a person that has trust for those who are in the ways of the Father, they'll always have someone to stand in the gap for them. Because I mean, realistically, we have so much to manage. We have so much to take care of. So if you believe in a self-reliant mindset, it's going to be hard because nothing in your life was handled or completed or brought to fruition by just one individual. All the materials you have, everything you own,
Good, good.
more than one hand and mind came into being for those things to come into your possession. So same too with us for to achieve in the things of the Father. Just as it took the 12 tribes to build the tabernacle, it's going to take all 12 to support it. So I believe the same thing with us in this whole idea of seeking support and self-care. It's we're commanded to love our neighbor as ourselves. So what does that look like? How many people can truly say that they have love for themselves and they're willing to share it with everybody and they want someone to share it with them? I think those things can be really difficult. So if you need a place to start, a family is a great place to start, a place to trust. And I mean, it starts with the little things. So for me, that's where it starts. And then over time, whenever those things come to pass for you, y'all willing you find an imitatable example in the ways of the Father to where you can desire to change to become more like that. And I believe if you have a desire to want to be a person who grows closer to the Father, it's gonna take time, it's gonna take leadership, and it's gonna take practice. And all of those things should not be done alone.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Beautiful, my brother. I think that that was good. So all it is when you guys were saying, we want to make sure that we prioritize our self care. You know, it needs to be in the top of those things, because if it is, then we'll know how to go forward in those. So all of these things that we had been saying, even on last week and as tonight, there is a place for us to reflect. So we want to make sure that we reflect on these things, because we need to learn from each and every experience that we have. Those things, and I mean, we have to be persistent. We have to have patience, right? These are the things that we need when we thinking about change, right? The change that it is in our life. Now, when we say, what do I need to change? You can fill in that blank. There's a blank there that you have to fill in. And we always have to understand that it takes patience. It takes patience. It takes patience with one another, right? As well. And so when we are navigating through this time of changing, we want to realize that it's ongoing. And then when you see the growth in it, you know, it's one thing when you plant something. I think the little ones that went out and planted something out there in the garden as well. Well, you put seeds in there and you cover it up. You know, you just don't see nothing right now. But when they start breaking the soil and they start growing, you get excited. And so sometimes we should get excited about our growth in that, because it'd be something that we can see, you know. So if you planted a seed and you never get a sprout, then you could be disappointed, right? You could be disappointed. But sometimes it takes patience, and I think we may go out every day and take a look and want something to sprout out. But before you know it, it will break the soil and it begin to come up and begin to flourish in that which it is. Whatever seed that has been planted, that's what it is. And we know that if we look at the word of Yah being the seed in our life, we cannot produce nothing else but from that seed from the word, you know. And I think that's, you know, that's a good and it's valuable to us. So those are the things that we need to reflect on sometimes, is our growth, you know. And I think if sometimes we focus on our growth, then we'll get excited about where we at now. So I'm gonna let you, brother, jump right on in here, brother Jedediah, and see if you have something to add to that.
I love what you said at the end, getting excited about our growth and
Mm,
looking at those things, because um, the reflection part is very important to me, because if I'm putting in all this work, I need to take a time to step back and look at the positive things, because it's so
yes.
easy to look at the negative things. And then you find yourself getting down on yourself, and that's not a ruach we want to have. So I just really love how you put that, looking at the good things in our life and the growth and the place that we used to be. You know, I always hear my wife talk about a certain place where she used to be and where she is now. I love
Mm,
hearing that.
mm,
And I love hearing that from set apart people, because that encourages me as well, to not just look at myself, but to understand that, okay, I'm here now, but I know I can continue to grow. I know I can continue to get better in certain areas of my life. So I just wanted to comment on that last part, and I think that is something that I hold dear to myself, um, because I've always found myself in a negative position. I always found myself with a negative mindset. You know, they have that saying, the glass half empty, half full. I was half empty all the time, you know. So, but coming into the things of the Father, it's like I can't have that type of mindset. I got to have a mindset of looking at the positive things and continue to push forward with that.
Absolutely. All right. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. Go ahead. Your host order jump right in there
You
and see what you
nailed it.
got.
Splash. I can swim too, so it's all good. So yes, yes, my brother. I believe that is really it. To me, if we were trying to lay down a foundation for, how to come out of the pessimistic mindset, even in that thing, you're gonna need a real reflection and persistence. Somebody was telling me once before that the salt sea, the Dead Sea, it's so salty because it doesn't, and all it does is, take in. It doesn't give anything. So I really feel like we could be a people that are like that. And it's going to take reflection for us to really notice that.
Mm,
We use analogies of fruit trees and all those things, but fruit trees don't eat their own fruit.
mm-mm.
Somebody else comes by to
Absolutely.
partake of it.
Yes.
So if we're in a community of, healthy trees, if you will, the good trees produce good fruit, right? So that means that we need those good fruit bearers to be some type of inspector for us sometimes. And but again, as we've gone over through all these different things, through the transformation, through the mind shift, the breaking traditions, I'm looking at this right here is sometimes you're gonna have some rules in your thinking. You're gonna have rules because if you have rules that you live by, and I mean that in the sense like your personal rules, like there should be certain things to which you can't do because you're living in a way that is to impact people with good.
Mm,
And I mean that in the sense of like I said with those fruit trees. Somebody in your life, they can say, "I love the way that you were patient with that person." So now you don't have to spend the rest of your life wondering, how patient you are and all those things, and going, down all these different loopholes because of the way you're living your life. Those in your life can see you are patient, and they're, now let's focus on, the kindness. Let's focus on, the being slow to anger, and then like my brother said, let's focus on seeing the good in everything. Let's esteem things more highly. Those things are all going to take time to cultivate. And you're not going to, just wake up one day and say, oh, now I have all the fruit of the spirit. No, it's just something that's going to take a practice and multiple times. Are we going to, hit the wall? But when it comes down to it, we should get up willing to
mm,
do the things
yes.
that, we weren't willing to do before we crashed. And I think we all been like that. We've all been in a place to where if I would have been more, like you said earlier, fill in the blank, it would have been better. Well,
Mm,
if you
mm,
have enough wherewithal to see that it would have been better, now put it into practice. And that's what I meant by having that rule. But sometimes we can go through stuff and not see that we needed to change it. So you may have gone through this and done it multiple times, but until that one time came where you did see that you can do it different, now you're ready to change. Because sometimes we're just oblivious or flip it. But I think in the last portion, Maury was talking about, are we acting for what is best for others?
mm,
And
mm.
that's what I mean by bearing that fruit for other people. Because if you're a person that emanates kindness, you're going to show the unkind person what it looks like, and then they're going to want to do it. If you're the type of person, that's slow to get angry, it's going to blow somebody with a short fuse's mind. They're not going to understand at all. They're going to see, how did you survive that without even, steam coming out of your ears and your eyes? And that's when it's fruitful. So I'm talking about when you're really reflecting, it's not necessarily just the man in the mirror, it's what your brother and your sister, your elders, your teachers, the children, are they seeing the individual you are portraying yourself to be as more like Messiah?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that's outstanding, my brothers. I think we are. about at the close of this. The hour is getting us, of course. But I think that it was very, very good. And I think I'm the better for it. That's for sure. And listening to you, and even though we kind of started off and we had a rough start to start off with, I think it helps us when we thinking that sometimes change has to be I would think I said even last week immediate, right? You got to be ready to come right off and be willing to change, and that's something that I want to continue to grow in that. I think that would be one of my final words is I want to have a constant change in my life in that and embrace. And this week, I want us to rejoice in that which we have already seen the growth in our lives. We sometimes we focus on, oh, I'm not doing this, and I got to do that, and I have to do this. Well, sometimes it puts a smile on our face when we make those particular accomplishments. Are you better, right, than you was yesterday? And that answer should be always yes. And sometimes I think our mindset is always more focused on what I can do next or what I have to do. I need to do this better. I need to do that. And I think we just need to take a breather and enjoy life, because the Father wants us to enjoy life, but He wants us to enjoy life in covenant with Him. So let us enjoy life no matter what state we are in, what we might be going through. Let us continue to enjoy life, because being with the Father and in covenant with Him, you cannot get no greater joy, no greater shalom than obeying and being with Him. No greater love, no greater understanding, no greater wisdom, and all of those things that comes together. So I want us to be encouraged and be powered up in the fact that that now I can embrace who I am. I'm not that person of yesterday, but I am the person of today. And then you can go forward in those things and let the Father continue just to show us and to lead us and to embrace one another and to learn from one another, and then continue to sprout out. And then I think one of the things was said that let those eat from the fruit, right? Let it be good to the taste. Let it be like honey when they taste it, right? Or whatever your fruit tree might be, but don't let it be bitter. Don't let it be bitter, because sweet water and bitter water doesn't come from the same fountain. So I think it's very, very important. Well, gentlemen, I'll let you get in for if you have a final word. If not, then we'll get ready to close. But if you have something, that's fine.
Oh, no, sir.
Okay, all right, all right.
You can do it.
All right, all right. There
You
you
can do
go.
it. Yeah, you
Hallelujah.
can do it.
Hallelujah. Well, thank all of you that's I'm gonna look down here in the room. Thank you for they just made a switch in life, so they made a change tonight, and it's good to look down and to see that. And everybody is still with us. And then those of you that may not be in the room, somehow you found us again. So I guess after we close it out, I could put a real title and everything up there. I just kind of was trying to find if we could even get. We had a little mixed up updates and all of those. I don't know. So who knows? But we have done it. We made that change. All right, my brother. Well, may the Father strengthen each and every one of you, and also that He may reveal the growth that you had. Remember that. Remember where you was at. Now look at where you was at now, right? In the positive side of those things. Okay, remember those things. All right, shalom, shalom to all the house of Israel. Let me see if I can find this. I think I'm okay.